Okay, so we have this boring scene here. We'll go ahead and go back to speed tree, and we'll drag a couple more broadleaf trees out here onto our scene. Give it some visual interest. And then we're going to go back into Maya, and let's go ahead and give this terrain a bit of, let's give this terrain a little bit of unevenness, a little bit of naturalness. So let's hop over to Maya real quick. So here I am in Maya. We know they're dynamically linked. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this picture because we're done using it. So I'll grab this image plane, I'll control hide it, and then let's focus on this grid right here. How can we add some depth here? And now it's time to show you about something called soft selection. If we go into our modeling toolkit here, we can use something called soft selection. What does that do? Let me show you. First I'll go into vertice mode and I'll select a vertex. And when I go up, it just moves that vertex up. All right? If I turn on soft selection and I change this value, maybe to something like 20, watch what happens. Maybe to something like 200. Watch what happens. See that? I can now manipulate a much larger group at one time, and so it's selecting all the points around it, but not moving them up as high as that first point. So that is what soft selection is. So I can use this to kind of model out some terrain here. What I can do is I can make this grid a lot bigger. So if I go back to object mode, I can scale it up quite a bit. Make sure that I'm not destroying my building. So I will want the building sitting on a flat portion of my grid. So I can move the grid over here to where it's flat, and I'll move it back down. Okay, and then I still have my bomb here, which definitely needs to be a lot bigger, obviously, right? Something like that. Okay, and you know what? Let's give this bomb a different material. So once again, all these things are helping you to learn and to remember. Let's move that up a little bit. And that's what I want. I want repetition. So the more repetition you have, the more likely you are to continue making games. And that's my whole goal here. I want you guys making your own games. So I'll assign a new material here. I'll go Maya, and I'll go Phong, or Blinn on this one. And where are we going to go? We're going to go over to our Windows, Rendering Editors, Hypershade. Okay, there's our Hypershade view. We're going to go ahead and name this Blinn our bomb. That way we can keep it separated. Now we can find it up here. We know it's bomb 1. So let's go ahead and right-click Graph Network. And there we go. So we want this bomb to be kind of reflective, like it's a metal. So what we'll do is we'll go to reflectivity here, and we'll just kind of crank that up a little bit so it's much more reflective. All right. Color should be fine. You do want it to be a bit of a gray. We'll save that. And let's go back over to Unity and wait for it to update. We know it's going to take a little while. That's okay. Grab yourself a soda. Now you can see we have these kind of rounded edges on our scene. And if we go down to our bomb, we are not seeing that texture we made. And for that matter, when we look at our windows here, we're not seeing that texture that we had made. Remember, these are supposed to be somewhat see-through there. Remember, these windows, oh, okay. These windows are kind of reflective right here. See, they're reflecting the scene, so that's looking good. But our bomb here doesn't seem to be working. Let's go into game mode, and let's press play and see what we've got. Okay, so I move around. That bomb does not seem to be reflective to me at all. Okay, so we have to figure out a couple things. Number one, this bomb does not have, it's not being reflective, and that's not good. Another thing is, look, it's got these sharp edges, and if we go over to Maya, we see that it actually is smooth because we had hit number 3 on it. So a couple things we got to figure out is how can we make this smooth over there in Unity, and then how can we make sure our bomb material, our super reflective material, is over there. Okay, so here we are in Maya. Let's first fix this subdivided issue. So if you're viewing it at 3 and you want it to be smooth like this in Unity, we're going to actually have to physically smooth this object. So I'll hit 1 again. This is what we actually have in this scene. So if we just go up here to Mesh, Smooth, and then we'll get that same thing. We hit Control S here, we'll save, and then we'll go back to Unity, and in a second this will come in as a smooth object. So there we go. I'll go to Scene View so I can move around. I didn't smooth it a ton. And keep in mind this is now a higher poly count object. So you want to be careful what you end up smoothing. So only smooth something only add detail if it needs detail. That's the Taylor rule. All right, so about its color and such, if we go back to Maya here, and pull up our Hypershade, let's make a drastic change to this, like changing the color on it. And we'll make it a red bomb because most bombs that are dangerous are red. I read that somewhere. Done. And let's go ahead and change its specular color. Now let's crank up its specular color there. All right. Okay, so in Arnold, it is showing all these changes we just made, and it looks beautiful. I mean, it's slowly rendering it. But if we just go to hardware rendering, we're not getting any of that. And if we go to our scene and click on it, we do get that a little bit. We get a higher specular change there, and then we get this red object. If we hit save here and go back to Unity, we're going to see some of those changes take place. Like we're going to see that it turned red, but I'm still not seeing any specular highlights on it, and I'm still not seeing any reflectivity. I'm further seeing that my character is now going through the floor. So we're making changes. I can see here that we need to move him up a little bit. Oh, okay, and then save that, and hopefully now he won't fall through the floor. Okay, he is. What that tells me is that we need to go back to our model here, and we need to go to Model and Generate Colliders. Okay, now we should have no problem with our character falling through. Hit Apply. Wait for it. Something goofy's going on here. Elfman. We've got our capsule collider going on. Hit play. Okay, there he goes. So we just had to regenerate the colliders. Keep that in mind. It is a universal constant of both programming and game design that if you're going to make changes and build something and make changes and build it, code will change, something will get messed up, you'll have to go back and fix things. It's just the law of the jungle. Don't let it freak you out. You've seen it happen probably 100 times to me thus far in the tutorials. We always solve it. We always figure it out. And what were we working on? We were trying to get specular reflections going on this. So that's a problem. We can change color, we can change some things about it, but we don't seem to be able to get that reflection going. So in the next lesson, we will tackle that and solve that problem, and I'll see you there.